Good evening and welcome to the bullshit. I'm sorry, not the bullshit. It's just been a bullshit day. Welcome to the World Forge, guys. I'm Eric. Welcome to the bullshit.
It tracks.
It could be worse.
It tracks.
I'm Eric from the Hebridean Tales.
I am Chris from the Chaos Den podcast.
And together we are the dumbasses who think we can make a new world by talking. We're doing a pretty good job at it, though.
We're doing it. We're making it. It's coming together. We've got hell, we've got heaven, we've got elemental planes, we've got the creation, we have dragons that are breeding and pumping out fucking moon babies. I don't know.
I mean, gravimetric dragon planet.
Yeah, we got Steve, we got Johnny. I don't know. I think we're doing pretty okay right now.
Oh, there was a third Walker brother. The one who went to the hellscapes.
Oh, yeah, there was. I can't remember his name. I don't know if we wrote him down. Well, it might be George now.
If not, someone in chat, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know, because I don't think we wrote him down.
Hellscapes.
No, we don't have him. So we're gonna have to start a new page
known as the Walkers.
Known as the Walker clan. just
the Walker family started.
The Walker family. Started. Yeah. Oh no, we're not. We are not doing that. Please no.
I mean,
but yes, we are the World Forge. We are two GMs putting our brains together in the attempt of creating a whole new world. And we invite all of you to tag along and maybe help us in the creation process, because I think on some days we are so brain dead from our mundane lives that we need assistance with thought processes and thinking concepts and rolling dice, because everybody needs to roll dice, because it's a TTRPG creation process. You have to roll dice for that.
Yep. And once we've got the cosmology done is when I think we're going to start inviting
some guests. Sounds like a plan to me.
I'm kind of waiting for a good point to where we can give them a debrief.
Tell them to watch all the past episodes.
Well, not even, but like just a shorter.
Well, considering we lost some of our episodes too, right? So like we can't tell them to go back and listen to all of them, because some of our most important stuff didn't even get recorded.
Jeez.
But we fixed it. We're doing things properly now. We're all together.
By the way, let me check and make sure I can actually hear. Go ahead and talk.
Peekaboo. Pikachu.
Got it.
Bob Almighty.
Got it. I heard Peekaboo and Pikachu, and that's all I cared about. I'll drop the volume back down after that.
Awesome. I'm on my OBS game now, okay? I've done my research. I know what I'm doing now. We will not have any more hiccups like we did before. No more hiccups. But tonight...
I was about to say, speaking of hiccups, what are we not sponsored by today?
So
we've already seen the green bottle in my hand.
Yeah, well, I'm very, very original with myself today. I am from Canada, Ontario, Toronto, so I am hashtag not sponsored by good old Molson Canadian tonight.
Fantastic. Molson Canadian, if you are out there listening to the show, I know you're not, but if you
definitely not.
Definitely would appreciate a sponsorship. That would be fantastic. I'm sure we would both love that.
Like I think we have a higher we got a higher chance of going with All or Nothing.
Well, if they're there too, let's fucking do it, bro. Like,
we got to keep poking them, keep hashtagging them, right? Poking them, let them know that I'm repping.
Poke.
And if that doesn't work, I'll just start rocking out the Ontario Parks hat, and maybe we'll get sponsored by Ontario Park. Who knows? If anybody else there wants to sponsor us, support us, collaborate with us, you know where to find us.
Are we sure though?
No.
Because I'm not.
I'm not even sure where to find me anymore. So,
however,
with introductions out of the way, We are once again diving back into hell to finish our hellscapes, because who thought that it would take us 3 nights to do it?
2.
2 nights?
We're on the second night of the 5 hells.
For some reason, my brain thought it was night 3. See?
It's night 3 for the hellscapes.
Well, that's what I meant.
But night 2 of the 5 hells specifically, because we rebranded the 5 hells. We took 4 of them away and said, fuck the world.
I mean, yeah, well, more so fuck the hells. So, as a little bit of a recap on our 5 hells.
Yep.
Pardon me, I'm gassy tonight.
Where I was headed to. So the 5 hells we did were the mental.
Yeah, your mind.
The heart.
Which was jealousy, envy, lust of love.
Yep. Jealousy, envy, lust of the heart. The stuff you don't always act on, but is there, and that's what the Sphinx saw as where you belonged.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the 2 that we didn't dive into. Yeah, so there's body and soul, which we didn't get to dive into too much, or at all, I don't think. And then we have corruption. Which we did touch base a little bit on corruption. All souls in corruption slowly become corrupted. When you are corrupted, it locks away memories instead of removing them. So it just kind of like snuffs them down deep down inside your body, and kind of prevents you from recollecting those memories.
It was an easier way to control bitches.
Yeah. You can't do shit if you don't remember that you're supposed to do it.
Right?
So
you can't remember your goal was to escape if
you don't remember that you
don't remember
prisoned.
Your goal was to escape.
Well, you don't remember to escape if you don't realize you're in prison.
That's a true statement too. If you don't know you're in prison, are you really in jail?
I don't even know how to answer that one.
If anyone out there has ever been in a, so I will say this: if you're in a relationship of some form or fashion where you are not realizing you're being abused, you will understand that statement completely. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Very much.
And if you are in one of those, I'm looking at you right now. Get out.
There are ways to do it.
There's helplines and all kinds of stuff. Make sure to get out if you're in any kind of an abusive situation.
Nobody deserves to be there.
No one deserves to be.
Doesn't matter what you've done in your past. Doesn't matter who you are. You do not deserve to be in a bad place. Everybody deserves to be happy, even if you're a bad person.
We are talking about hellscapes, so if things like this do come up, we will break the fourth wall.
Yep.
And tell you guys the reality of shit. But
100%.
Yeah, no, if you're in one of those situations, get the fuck out.
GTFO.
We love you. You have the strength to do it.
And this is a safe place. So if you need a safe place to escape to, hi, we're here.
TTRPGs in general are a safe place to do that.
They really are.
Be real.
Both of our podcasts are also safe places to listen to escape.
Abso-fucking-lutely. But I think we should get off of that soapbox for a minute.
Yep.
And so there's that. And
let's jump down into hell. So, body or soul? What do we want to dive into? Better question. Do you have any initial thoughts on either of these two that you would like to bring to the table?
So, body. Let's start with, I think, body.
Body? Okay.
Because my main I'm actually logged into the wrong one to view this document. I mean, I can view the document, but I can't make changes. I have to do some switching around. But, so you'll be doing typing tonight.
Oh, no. We're doomed.
Oh, no. Johnny Walker,
Charlie, you left it up to Chris to do the typing.
I know, right?
Yeah, bad decision.
All kinds of bad spelling. We'll be fine.
Yep.
We'll be fine. We'll adapt and overcome. But that's neither here nor there.
Nope.
Moving right along. For body.
Body.
The cores of body I see would be your murders, your torture, sins of the flesh type of deal. So this is the people who actually did commit adultery. Yeah. Just because you have the heart for lust doesn't mean you're going to act on it. But if you are
acting upon
actively out there cheating,
this is where you go.
This is where you go.
Yeah, 100%.
It's that half a step difference, right? And that's what the hells are in general, is the worse it is, the worse you go.
The deeper you go. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Actually, take murder out of there.
Take murder out of there?
Yes, because murder goes to soul.
Okay.
Because I'm pulling for Harry Potter here. You kill a person, part of your soul gets rended from your fucking body into a Horcrux type of concept, and that's how you can become a lich if you do that enough times, right? Or if you do that in the right manner. Liches, if they were to actually die and face judgment, would go there.
I can agree to that. I would also add one step
witches,
to that,
so
that anybody who does murder, obviously in the sense, you are taking a soul. You are essentially removing a soul from a body, period, the end. Whether you kill it, you actually absorb the soul, whatever the fuck you do, it's done. That's what it is. So in the sense that if you are a individual who is a soul renderer, a murderer, anything of that sorts, this would be the plane that you would go for that concept, because you are literally preventing a soul from existing. So that makes sense to me.
Yes. So oh, hey Maddie, welcome, first time chat. Welcome for the first time. We're happy to have you, first of all.
Great question.
She asked what, I'm assuming I am so sorry, but Maddie here asked, what's the difference between murdering someone versus hurting them? And yes, it would, yep, you're exactly right. Would they if they cut off a limb, go to minor murder of foot? So what it is we have the body level of hell. So the body level of hell would be those who committed physical torture. So like cutting off an arm, cutting off pinkies.
The torture of so essentially the sin of flesh. So whether you are causing harm to flesh, whether you are, pardon my wording, there's no other way of doing it, raping flesh. If you are in any way rendering flesh, not killing, but literally torturing flesh, your soul would go to the hell of body, because you're not removing a soul. You're not causing a soul to cease existing. You are simply doing the act of bodily torture or mental torture. That's where you would go, would be this hellscape, this one of these 5 layers of hell being body. If that makes sense?
Fantastic. Still okay. We've got a continuation.
Yeah,
still
no, let's go for it.
Yeah,
Bring it
yeah.
on. I love being challenged.
Right? No, it's not even a challenge. This is refining the process, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
We stopped because we didn't know what to do for these two. For body and soul.
We did get quite stuck on it. That's why we like having outside sources.
We got a little stuck. So no, it's a very good call.
Because for me, it feels like the difference. Like, you don't kill someone, but they're almost dead. So again, if you're not removing the soul from the body, you're still within the hell.
Within body.
Yeah, within the 5 hells of body. You haven't progressed to murder, to actually ending a life. Once you pass that very fine thread of removing a life, that's when you would go to the next layer of hell. If you are Now, mind you, if you are removing limbs and you are removing organs to the point where maybe not the act of what you do kills them, but they die as an after effect, then yes, I feel like your soul would still end up going to the hell of body, or sorry, the hell of soul, because in that point you have removed a soul from a body through your actions.
Yes, Maddie, you did miss something. One of our previous episodes. Did you listen to all of our episodes? Up to this point, probably not.
I wouldn't blame you if you didn't.
Wouldn't blame you if you didn't. But there are 3 different hellscapes.
Correct.
There is the hellscape of war, or Valhalla.
Yep.
Oh, first time you've been here. Fantastic. Yeah, so we've got 3 different hellscapes. We've got the hellscape of Valhalla, which is your traditional Valhalla concept in many ways. We took a different spin on it. It's also the part of the hellscapes wherein the demons and devils are constantly fighting there, because the majority of souls end up there. Valhalla.
There it is, Valhalla.
Yeah, so Valhalla, because you are doing war and killing in combat. It's still killing, but when you die, we have 2 sphinxes in the plane of limbo who judge whether you are ready to die and where you should go in your afterlife. So through that judgment process, they determine what you did. So most of the adventurers would probably go to Valhalla.
It's not so much. Well, no, that's not true, because you can kill an adventuring party. Valhalla is based on bloodlust. If you are fighting for the concept of fighting.
Yes.
Whereas for the hellscapes, it's more so it's more for like your assassins. It's your assassins, it's your torturers, it's your people who are going out to, like, they thrive off doing these horrible deeds to individual people. Someone who's going to Valhalla, they just like combat, they like fighting. Like, it could be a person who is fighting in the arena, and they are killing people for no other sake than the honor of combat and fighting. It's still a bad deed because you are taking a life for pleasure, but you're not doing it in a malicious way of, I enjoy ripping apart organs. I enjoy, like, it's that little.
It's not a sadistic.
Yeah, it's not a sadistic sense. It's more of a combat lust. It's like where your barbarians would go, who just have an obsession with, like, chopping heads off. They're not doing it because they, don't like the person. They're just doing it because they are trying to prove their strength, their honor, their way of being through essentially Barheadians. That's perfect explanation. Jugheads.
It's the barbarians for the sake of barbarianism.
Exactly.
But the 5 hells is owned in traditional, like, D&D and other TTRPGs, is known as the 9 hells.
Yes.
We just reconfigured it.
We shrunk it down
a little bit. We shrunk it down, condensed it a little bit, but also took our own twist on it, like we've been doing with a lot of other things.
Yep.
Our 5 hells are the reasons for why it basically boils down to the level of what you did and why you did it.
The severity, essentially, yeah.
The severity of the sin. Whether it was a mental thing, a mind thing, something of the heart, which again is worse than the mind, because you can have a fleeting chance of, oh, she's hot, or, oh, that's a very attractive human being. That might get you to mind based on, and I'm just using lust here real quick as a real quick example. But then heart could be, you're so super infatuated you wish you had that person, even though you know that they're married or whatever. there are no lines for your
mental capacity.
obsession, your mental obsession, your heart is
There are indeed
obsessed.
5 layers. Yeah.
Yes, there are 5 layers. And then the body is you actually being in adultery, doing adultery,
Acting on it.
acting on it. And then soul would be
Murder.
you go and you kill their husband or their partner in order to be with them. Then you would go down here. Is that kind of tracking on those 4? If you combine all 5 layers, you get the god of the hellscapes.
We
The god of
approve
hell.
the goofing.
I totally approve of it. Totally approve of goofballs. Let's bring it. Let's bring it on. But then corruption is the only reason you did what you did is because you were corrupted by a something.
Something
You could have
else.
been a great person, but something else told you, like a demon or a
Almost
or
like a
an evil
contract.
god or something. Not necessarily a contract, because contracts are different.
That's true.
We dealt with
Contracts are different.
contracts last time.
That's the abyss.
That's why I left Devils out, right?
Yeah.
But if something convinced
can.
you and forced you into it, it could, yes, external corruption could send you to the corruption hell.
If you are weak enough to be corrupted, the hells will take you because you allowed yourself to be pulled in. So that's kind of how it goes. Corruption is still corruption, and a bad deed is still a bad deed, even if you don't realize that the bad deed is happening. That's kind of the way that we've fed into this. Now, we have also made a way that if you have made a bad deed and you have been corrupted and you have been brought down to hell, there are ways to ascend from hell. They're damn near impossible because they don't want you to leave and they're trying to pull you in as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So you get asses. Well, not in that sense. It's not. So when we say corrupted, we don't necessarily mean having your body corrupted by a spell hitting you. It's if you are, say you're an individual and you're walking through town, then all of a sudden you hear a voice in the back of your head that tells you to steal the apple. You have the conscious capability of being like, should I take the apple? Should I not take the apple? If you take the apple, you have now exactly intrusive thoughts.
Yes.
So
Intrusive thoughts, whether they be external or internal, but it's corruption
It's corruption of the mind.
of the
You're
internal
allowing
side.
an intrusion to corrupt your way of thinking to do an act that you typically would not do.
Because even if I, as a mortal, were to convince through amazing persuasion checks, Chris here,
You forgot my name?
Totally. But that's okay. If I were to convince Chris to go do something, yes, he could go to corruption because he did that thing.
Yep.
Now he would still have the rest of his mortal life to convince to play out, and that may not. It's not the only thing that's going to
So I
send
think
it straight to corruption.
the part that we're missing, I think that our viewer is missing, is the concept of the sphinxes. So you don't go to hell. You have a chance, essentially. So when you die, regardless of what you've done, you go to the Grey Wastes, limbo, which is essentially the sorting
Waiting room.
hat.
It's the DMV.
Yeah, it's the DMV
It's motherfucking
of the
DMV.
afterlife.
Let's be real.
Once you get to limbo, to the Grey Wastes, you get sorted by the two sphinxes. We have the two sphinxes. One will read your mind, your heart, and your soul, and depending on that will essentially place you accordingly. One asks you questions. Based on how you answer, and between the two of the sphinxes, they will decide whether your heart or whether you are worthy enough to ascend to a heavenscape or get sent down to a hellscape. If you have done enough bad things that compile enough, they will decide whether you go to Valhalla, the Abyss, or the Five Hells. If you have done better things that outweigh the negative, you will go to the heavenscape, and they will...
It is very much the Egyptian methodology of judging the heart against the feather.
Yeah.
We just took our own... We took our own little twist to it, too, because the Sphinx that judges your... where the state of where your mind is doesn't say anything. He doesn't ask you any questions. He doesn't do anything.
No.
He determines whether or not you essentially had things left undone.
Yeah, it's James.
He's the one who determines whether ghosts and ghosts, poltergeists, or whatever go back to the material plane, the plane of unity, or can proceed on. No, wait.
Yeah. Maybe. I might have. They are 100%. You have the silent one, which does not talk and just stares into your soul, and the one that talks craziness to you, and you have to answer the craziness. Jane, Silent Bob. Mm-hmm. Wait till you hear about Johnny Walker and Steve Walker.
Oh, I'm sure they'll come up again later. But yeah, so...
Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
You don't entirely know what happens if you fail. No one really knows because there's no one to tell you whether you fail or not, or what happens if you fail or not. It's just, you have to...
Silent Bob lights a cigarette. No ticket.
No ticket for you. Goodbye. Down you go. You get a one-way ticket straight to hell.
So once it's been determined, your soul is sent to the plane of your decided afterlife, based on the Sphinx's decision. No one ever really comes back after they die, for the most part.
No, unless they're still in the Grey Wastes and get resurrected before they get judged.
Yes, that was our one caveat to resurrection spells and other stuff like that.
You still have to be in the Grey Waste in order to get resurrected, which is why the Grey Waste is as big as it is, because some people refuse to go and speak to the Sphinx in hopes that they will be resurrected.
There are people who jump out of line. Steve Walker is one of those. Steve jumped out of line and decided he was just going to wander the wastes because he was an adventurer. He was with a party. They had the access to resurrection type level spells. And he's just like, I'm just going to wander.
We're also pretty sure that the walkers are like ancient. Like, we're pretty sure that they are like the Adam and Eve family of our world.
Yeah.
Because like Johnny's still hanging out on Time and Fate.
Which was a couple episodes ago.
It was like episode 2.
Yeah, he was like the second episode.
I think it was. He's been around for a while.
We've been talking Johnny for a minute here. But so that kind of is our life and death process. Does that make our death process?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Do you have any other questions about it? Does anyone in chat have any questions about that?
Well, if you do,
honestly,
let us
if we
know.
spend the episode talking life and death real quick, that's fine. That's a good. We've gone several episodes past that, so if we have to back up, it's fine.
We don't mind. Because also going back and talking about past things that we built helps us kind of solidify or reinvigorate some of the thought processes that we've had in order to build upon it or maybe improve upon it if we've missed something. Because we are only 2 people, and between the 2 of us, I think we might have 5 brain cells.
I have 3 of them. Dibs on 3.
All right, well, I'll take the other 2. Most times, those 2 brain cells still aren't active most days, so. I mean, the left side of my brain has 1, the right side of my brain has 1. They don't always sync with each other. So let's jump back a little bit into body,
go back
and
to hell.
yeah, well, I don't think we ever literally left it. We've been here the whole time. What just happened?
I took a swig at the same time, and I was about to laugh, and it was gonna come out my nose if I wasn't careful.
Ooh, nothing like a bubbly nose. It's great,
Right? Fizzy noses are no fun when I'm trying to have to talk after that.
No.
And breathe.
Breathing is important. Make sure you keep
Yes.
doing it, because I need you for more episodes. You can't keel over on me.
Right? So, body is people who commit sins of the flesh.
Yeah, sins of the flesh, sins of the body.
Torture, lust, etc. Well, not lust.
I was going to say
Cheating.
not lust.
It was adultery.
Yeah, so adultery,
cheating.
I would even go so far as with body, you could even, pardon me, it could even be acts of material effects. So like if you've thought
Greed.
about stealing something,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've envied somebody's item, and then you've taken it, I feel like that would be part of body.
Oh yeah, it would.
So
absolutely.
it wouldn't just be of the flesh; it would be of material gain as well. Oh, you're back in chat, or not chat, in notes. Yeah, I can take
Things
my hands
you-
off. Woo.
actually do.
Eric's the better note taker than I am.
Ugh.
We are, in a small sense, splitting body and mind a little bit more than maybe needs to be, but at the same time, we both kind of agreed that having it split is fundamental.
Rene Descartes.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
I will go Google that.
That one went over my 2 brain cells. But that's things you actually. Oh, you had to capitalize that one, eh?
Full caps.
Full caps, no stop.
Full caps. Because that's, no matter what the sin is, committing the sin is a body level.
Yeah, because I feel like we'll probably end up changing the name. I think therefore. Okay,
Well, the
that makes
names are
sense.
going to change from mind, body, soul, all that.
Yeah, I think that's that's one of the things I think that might get hung up on is the actual titles of what the hells are. But I do think that as we move forward, we will rename the actual 5 hells to something a little bit more feng shui of what they are, kind of like we did with cherubim.
Yep. It's the I think therefore I am concept is what Maddie was going with.
Yeah, which saying that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And yes, we are splitting hairs. We do understand, acknowledge, and accept that. That is a very fair criticism. But the hell based on your sins has been done.
Yep.
Hell based on, they've done hell based on a number of different things. This is hells based on severity.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially.
It's the severity of your actions, which has always kind of been how the hells are. Because even if you dive into the 9 hells, in like the 7, or sorry, not the 9 hells, the 7 deadly sins. The 7 deadly sins are still semi-based on severity if you really dive into them.
But that's because the sins are based on the various sins have a degree of severity to them.
Exactly.
Like
That's kind of what I'm saying. Everything has its own level of severity, no matter which way you look at it. So we're gonna have just our own level, essentially.
Correct.
But we're breaking it into 5 instead of 9 billion.
We thought about breaking this into 11 or 12 or what. We thought about doing it a dozen different ways.
Well, if I remember, we rolled a D12.
We did.
We rolled a D12, and that's what gave us our number of hells.
That's also because I had 11 in my head at one point too.
That's gross. Don't do that. I mean, do that. Have it in your head. let it stay there sometimes.
But that's why we rolled, right? We rolled because there were so many different ways we could take it.
We had too many options.
7, we could do the 9. We could do 11. We could have done 1. So 12 is way too many. But the other thing is,
problem with our moons.
We had that problem with our moons. I let someone in chat roll a D6.
Someone in chat roll the moons, and now we have 6 moons.
And now we have 6 of them.
Which turns out to be baby dragons. Yeah,
they're baby dragon eggs. So, but stay tuned on later episodes, and we'll get there.
Yeah, we're not touching the baby moons tonight. We're not doing that.
Nope.
We'll come back to that another day.
Yeah. But so body is things that sins you actually commit.
Yes.
And perform tangible actions towards.
Yes. They would have to have physical interactions.
Yes. This is your physical manifestation is the trick here. There has to be a physical level of it.
Yeah, so having the physical concept definitely makes it more linked to the concept of the body. So that definitely tracks with that concept.
Mm-hmm. And that is absolutely hysterical. Maddie had to roll D100 for somebody else's chat stream on how many planets were in his universe. Maddie rolled a nat 1.
You get one planet.
One planet in the entire universe, and apparently it was the first nat 1 that creator had ever had.
I mean, currently we're sitting on one planet in our universe.
Yeah, but we've already established that it's within an established. We know there are others.
Yes,
they exist. We just have not.
We haven't touched them yet, or even talked about them, or acknowledged them.
So body, the key for body is your physical manifestation.
Yeah.
Mind is a little tricky to get into, but soul is it's the anything that triggers a rendering of the soul.
Yeah, it's essentially anything that would cause the taking of a life would be soul.
Let's actually, I think rendering the soul should be the trigger.
You think
rending the soul.
Rendering the soul?
Rending the soul. Because if I just steal your soul and shove it in a bottle, I think that should. I envied your soul. I stole your soul. Your soul was now ripped from your body. I now have your soul in a bottle. I think I should still go to the soul hell.
Ooh. Okay.
All your soul belong to me. Exactly.
Okay, Shang Tsung. I'm not against that, but there would definitely have to be more ways of being put into
but killing a soul, killing a person still rends their soul from their body. Okay. It just sends them to the gray wastes.
Oh, so you're saying that if you literally render a soul, it's just a one-way ticket right here.
Correct.
So this is your bypass.
Not necessarily a bypass, but you're almost guaranteed by the Sphinxes to fucking come here.
Well, no, I actually like the idea that, because like we have had ways in the past in I think Valhalla and the Abyss where there's the concept of if you did something so vile, so bad, it's just you're fucking there.
Yeah. Well, let's ask chat. Chat, what do you think? Should
If you collect a soul, if you literally take a soul from a body and put it into a container so that you have it in your possession, or you put it in a soul gem, or you put it and you render the soul into a weapon or a piece of armor, it could be used for anything. You could be making a magical weapon. You could. No, this is like you are literally taking the soul from a human body. So I would look at Eric and I say, okay, Eric, your soul is mine. I'm taking it. I'm putting it into the soul gem. I now own your soul. You are dead because I have your soul. When I die because I stole a soul, I shouldn't have the option of going to the Grey Wastes and being judged. I should just die and go right to the fucking Hell of Soul. Exactly, Edward. So
justice for Robin Williams. Yes. Genie deserves his justice. Whoever put Genie in the bottle.
But at the same time, now thank you Chaos and Thread for that, because I have a question for this. So in Aladdin essentially turns Jafar into a genie and traps his soul in a lamp. Now it was done for good, but he still rendered a soul. Thank you.
However, who had to make the wish?
Okay, that's true as well.
Jafar had to make the wish, so
but
Jafar
Aladdin. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
But Aladdin convinced him and corrupted his mind into thinking that he should be a genie.
So where does Aladdin go?
Now Aladdin would, because he didn't render a soul personally, he didn't force it. He would go to the Grey Waste, and then he would get judged. Or,
I'm gonna argue this point here real quick, and I think chat, you guys might agree with me, you might not. They both are in motherfucking corruption.
Well, would they automatically go to corruption, or would they first go? They would go to the Sphinx first.
The Sphinx would judge them for corruption, but Aladdin
has done a lot.
Actively corrupted Jafar. He already had sins of the body on his record.
Yeah.
Tons of sins of the body. Realistically, he's in the body hell no less than body hell. He also then corrupted Jafar's soul. He corrupted Jafar into making the wish that turned him into the genie and stored his soul into the thing, putting Jafar in soul hell.
Okay, now to balance the scales, he wishes Genie free.
Yes.
Does that balance?
Genie was his patron. He was a warlock for Genie.
Well, Genie was a slave. He freed Genie from his enslavement. So does that balance the scales to the Sphinx?
Of all the sins of the body he committed before the age of 21. Of all of his theftdom from 4 to 21.
Chaos and Thread has the perfect comment. This is why it's the God's choice and not ours. The only problem is, in the terms of our in running a campaign in a world like this,
we are also the gods.
We'd be the gods.
But it would be DM's choice.
Turns out Aladdin was 14.
Okay. So Aladdin was 14, but that's still 10 years of crime.
Well, you think Little Bastard started at 4?
Minimum. Minimum 4.
All right, I was gonna give him at least 6.
Because so my 2.5-year-old is almost 3 foot tall and can reach the countertops of stall. So 4 is the age he could reasonably do it on his own without excessive help needed.
I mean, in fairness, my little one's about 3.5 turning 4, and she definitely steals things off the counters.
Correct. But that's my point, right? Like, that 4-year-old age is like that right height where they could do it on their own.
But would they know the difference between good and bad at that point? At what age would you say, well, my kid
Here's
knows,
the thing.
my kid knows the difference between good.
It's not 4-year-old Aladdin that got him in there. It's the 10 years of stealing after that.
But yeah, there's so many gray areas with that one, right? Because he's like, well, did he really know the difference between good and bad? That's what he grew up on.
He knew. The fucking cops were coming after him. Jesus.
But he had to survive somehow, otherwise he would have died.
By singing and dancing. Did you not watch the opening sequence?
That's how he danced around everybody to escape.
Precisely. He knew what he was doing. He sings about it. He has to stay one step ahead of the law, man. That's the first fucking verse.
But even later on, he shows his good side by stealing the bread. He doesn't even eat it. He hands it off to the kids who are starving.
Uh-huh. That time.
So let's stop trying to argue about a TV show that came, or a movie that came out in what, 98? I think it was
also again fairly recently.
Well, yeah, but it was a remake of an old.
You mean the animated one? We're both on the same page here.
We're arguing the animated one, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's get back into hell.
Disney presents Middle Eastern Les Mis. Yes. I love when chat is involved.
It makes it
so much more fun. Thank you so much, Maddie, for being here. We
and
appreciate
Chaos and
it.
Thread, thank you as well.
And welcome new viewer. We see someone else is watching the stream now too. So welcome. I think we might finish the hells today. The 5 hells.
The 5 hells.
Just the hellscape called the 5 hells.
Well, we'd already done the Abyss. We've done Valhalla. And we finished...
But no, we haven't done the Abyss. Abyss we haven't done at all.
Yeah, we did. No, we didn't.
Nope. You're seeing a bunch under the Abyss because that's Heavenscapes.
That's Heavenscapes.
The Heavenscapes are not a part of the Abyss, bro.
Whoopsies. We have to get better with we have to get better with our breakings of things. It all blends together.
Oh, it's our good buddy.
Welcome,
We've just been
Mr.
over
Shades.
here arguing morality of Aladdin and Jafar, where they would go in hell, because we know they're going to hell.
Yeah, we know. We pretty much decided between me and Eric and the chat that both Aladdin and Jafar are both going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is.
Genie would end up going back to his elemental plane that he belonged to, which was probably going to end up being air, because that's the elemental. He's a djinn, and therefore he belongs to the elemental plane of.
Hello, Angry Meatball, and I mean, we probably are all in hell. That's just how it all goes.
Welcome.
So that I think finishes off our hellscape of the 5 hells.
You think?
I think so. The only thing that we can really do past that is really dive into each of the 5 layers and break down like who's running it and all that kind of stuff. But I think we had the intent of coming back and doing that after we'd built all the scapes.
Aladdin ends the hells. Yes. It was the great morality debate about where Aladdin would end up.
Yeah.
But real quick, we do have a couple of new people. I'm going to real quick run back through the 5 hells again. So the 5 hells, you've got your mind, which is the thoughts, not the actions. The heart is the obsession over those thoughts. The body is the things you actually do that are sins. Soul is anything you the layer of the 5 hells that is soul is anything that affects another person's soul. So killing them or putting their soul in a soul jam.
Yeah.
Or somehow if you steal their soul or steal your own soul,
or cause a soul to leave a body, essentially.
Yes. If you cause a soul to leave a body, you end up in The plane of the 5 hells of soul.
That would be the 4th layer of hell.
The 4th layer of the 5 hells. The 5th layer is corruption. And that is anybody who is corrupted externally or internally to such a level that they commit something that would get you to the 5 hells.
If you borrow one temporarily, that's still taking a soul. It still counts.
However, if there are caveats, and the caveats are dealt with by the Sphinxes, so if, Chris, you told me to pull your soul, if you asked me to pull your soul because we were going into this fight where the enemy was going to steal it from you.
Okay, so it would have to essentially be, so thank you actually for bringing that up. That is actually a very good point. It would have to be the removal of her soul involuntarily.
Malicious, involuntary. Yes.
So not even malicious, just involuntarily. Because whether it's for a good purpose or a bad purpose, if you do without asking or without permission,
correct,
you're still stealing a soul. It's stealing. Consent. You need consent.
You don't have consent to steal a soul.
You need consent for anything. Anything you do needs to have consent. Period. The end.
It's not stealing if you have consent. That's exactly what it is. Oh, Jesus.
Pretty much. Pre-approved borrowing. You need a down payment. At least 4 cookies. So the last one, like you said, was the act of corruption, which we never got through. All souls, once you are in the plane of corruption, begins getting corrupted. And your memories are locked away and you forget anything that your past life remembered. To get brought into corruption, there are, I believe we had 3 different ways. One of the main ways is doing an act of corruption on the plane of unity, which is known as it's the material plane. We've nicknamed it the plane of unity. The act of corruption can be in any sense of being almost tricked into doing something of a bad nature, or in doing so, tricking someone into doing something of malintent. Both ways would do it. The other way is if you essentially walk into the plane of corruption, your soul automatically begins to get corrupted. One thing that we did not break down for our listeners is the layout of the 5 hells. This is not layers. We did not do layers of the hells. Essentially, our hells are one singular plateau on a singular level, and they are all free access. So someone from the plane, or someone from the 4th hell of souls, can walk over to the 5th layer, the 5th level of hell of corruption. They can walk to corruption. So picture it like a giant plaza. It's all it's districts.
Don't walk into the poor. Don't walk to the poor people. They will corrupt you into being more poor. They will corrupt
you to be poor. Hey. We talked about poor people. They deserve a happy place too.
They get judged by the Sphinxes just like everybody else. Or they get out of line because they don't know that if they lived well or not.
Like Aladdin.
Same choice everyone had. Aladdin would probably be smart enough to fucking get the fuck out of line. He's probably on the Great Waste. Let's be real.
We're not going to talk about the system. That's just that. Like Shade says, that's a little too realistic.
But
you could try to
parkour into heaven.
I mean, if he decided to travel the river, he could do it, because there is a river that runs from the hellscapes.
No, other way. From heavens down into.
It runs down, but it can also go up, like follow the river backwards. So he could hop a boat and attempt to go upriver to heaven. But good fucking luck.
It's like climbing Niagara Falls. You could do it.
You can. Wow. Maybe. You can try. You can certainly try.
A DM's favorite tool in their toolbox.
Favorite thing.
Try.
You can certainly try. So that is essentially the hells. The only thing that we have left to discuss is the abyss.
Fantastic. Okay, before we put our ideas out there about the abyss, we have a very active chat tonight.
We do.
Abuse them. I mean, use them.
Now you're going to send yourself to the wrong hell.
I mean, we didn't put words in hell, so it's fine. Lies isn't in there.
That's part of the mind.
Or body. It's up to the sphinxes. Any hoozles.
So our chat has asked, what Disney metaphor do we use for the abyss? That's a tricky one, because we could just go straight to Hercules and be like,
Hercules.
Robin Hood?
Robin Hood and Little John run through the forest. I was actually going to ask chat how many. So when we say abyss, what do you guys in chat?
What do you
think of?
What's the first thing that pops into your head?
What's the first thing? Yeah. What's the first thing you guys got?
Because for me personally, and I'll give you a second to think about it as I express my idea. You know what?
If it is your birthday, Shades, you get a wish.
Shades is correct. Today is his birthday. He is an old bastard, and I love him. So happy birthday, my dude. I hope you had a good one. I hope your little ones didn't torment the crap out of you, and hopefully the wife made you a cupcake. Because every birthday boy deserves a cupcake. I had mine on Friday.
Okay, it's canon now. The abyss is where abyssal vacuums come from. They just took the A off.
No.
Abyssal.
We are going to call them abyssal vacuums.
A space abyssal vacuums.
So I am now picturing just like, abyssal creatures that are running around with little vacuum faces. And if they see someone who doesn't belong there, just suck you up. And you get sucked into a vacuum, and eventually you get turned into an abyssal creature.
How do you think they collect souls?
With vacuums now. You just see them running around with little handheld vacuums.
I love it. Maddie, we are putting that in under the abyss. There exists.
Hoovers go to heaven, Bissels go to hell. Oh, lordy.
We did put a red light district in one of our heavens.
We did.
The heaven of creation.
We did. Yeah.
We absolutely did. So yeah, no, Hoovers go to heaven because they suck.
Yeah. It's canon. It's part of it now. We're stuck with it. There's no getting around it. We made the mistake. Now we have to live with it. Okay. So my brain of the abyss, and I think most people when they think of the abyss kind of have the same thought process. The abyss is chaos. It is essentially a concept of infinite turmoil and chaos and death and blood and gore and aggression, all within one demonic pool of explosions.
Okay.
Angry Meatball says the abyss is said to be infinite. Imagine a Dyson sphere, a realm that is dark, featureless, and from the inside seemingly endless, but only because the abyss itself exists on the inside surface of an enclosed sphere. So once more, we have more vacuums. So, okay, let's go with that. Let's call the abyss an internal suction vacuum. So it is a vacuum of space. So if we really wanted to, we could even say the abyss doesn't exist in the hells. It exists up on one of the moons.
I don't know that I like it.
No?
I don't mind there being a gate there.
A gate to the abyss on one of the moons. I mean, we've already...
Yeah.
So the moon are so one of our 6 moons already has a gate to the Fae. Another moon has a gate to the Shadow Realm.
Mm-hmm. Which was created by humanoids. We did decide that much.
We did decide that humanoids made a gate to the Shadow Realm, and then
they made the Shadow Realm.
They made the Shadow Realm, and in turn made a gate that went there. And now we're thinking about one of the other moons having a gate to the Abyss.
Yeah, because we have.
I'm about it. I'm about
totally
it.
Down for it. Because we have of our 3 moons,
it'd be Dirty Devil.
We definitely have. We have the space for sure, because our Fey one and our Shadow one both have intermittent magic access because of the way we did the
way that the
life-giving magic.
Yeah. Because the way that the solar dragon within the sun is essentially projecting magic in a diameter sphere that kind of like goes out in a singular line that would hit parts of the planet, parts of the moons at certain times, depending on how the positioning of it is. So
think an accretion disk, guys.
Yeah. So in that sense, being able to have having gates on the moons makes sense, especially like ones that are not like your typical gates. Like you're used to having your elemental gates and stuff like that, but having a gate of the Fae, gate of Shadow, and then a gate of the Abyss, I'm liking this.
But I do like that there's not one to the 5 hells.
Yeah, I don't think there would be a gate to the 5 hells. Personally, no. I don't think there would be. And I on the same token, I don't think there'd be a gate to Valhalla either.
No.
But I think having a gate to the Abyss, because there should be a singular gate that would gain you access to the hellscapes. The same way that we have a gate that gains you access to the heavenscapes. We have one, I believe. We should have one.
We have one that gets you access to the Grey Wastes if you find out where the Fountain of Youth is. That'll get you.
Yes, because that will bring you to the head.
Wastes.
Well,
Johnny Walker pulled it from the Grey Wastes after it hit the bottom one. They pulled it laterally because
he pulled a side stream.
He pulled a side stream off of the main river there.
Yeah. And that's what Abyss feeds magic to the dragons, while the dragons feed magic to the realm, which feeds to the Abyss, which makes an infinite cycle of magic recycling. Now, we could say yes to that, but the issue is the dragons are their own power source. So they came here from another location, another destination, and settled in this location, not because of the Abyss, but because of the access to the elemental planes. So they're actually pulling a majority of their power and diving their power back in through the elemental planes. That one has already been kind of canonized within the cycle of the cosmos. But it's not a bad idea.
No, it's not. And I think Shades was actually here when we figured that out.
He may or may not been.
Gravimetric Dragon, I'm pretty sure Shades was here for.
No, because we didn't do that initially on the Gravimetric Dragon creation. It wasn't until about an episode or two later. I think it was actually the episode where where I lost my audio that we did that one.
It's possible. We've had a couple where we had some unfortunate
technical
accidents.
Difficulties. Some frustration, if you would.
So, the way the Abyss in 5e works, and I'm saying this so we can pull ideas out of this.
Yeah.
So, the way 5e's Abyss works is there is some kind of celestial object that is actually constantly drilling down into into the core of the plane of the abyss. Now there is no core, but so it can just dig down to infinity.
Just continues.
So there are literally infinite planes of the abyss because it's like a giant chasm, like the Grand Canyon. If the Grand Canyon were to be constantly drilled out,
So that wouldn't be essentially planes. That would be levels.
it's layers and levels of the abyss, but it's
planes would be separated.
But
yeah.
So it's one of those where they call them layers or levels because they are within a plane.
Makes sense. Okay, I follow.
But I think the highest number I've heard is right around 486. Someone in chat, if you guys know more about the abyss, please let me know. But the highest number I've heard that I recall is 486 or so. And I don't remember whose layer that is or anything like that. But I know that like Demigorgon has his own, Lolth has their own.
Yeah.
All the demon princes have it. All the demon princes and princesses and the demon lords and all of them have their own layer or layers under their domain.
Currently there are 700.
See?
Based off of Forgotten Realms Wikipedia.
There you go. That gives you a good idea.
700.
Correct. But it's because there is essentially like a dwarf star just digging straight towards the middle of this fucking thing that was put here by the Oberiths eons ago, back in the Dawn times and all that kind of shit. Long time ago bullshit.
One of the greatest things that they have actually written down here is, no matter where you go in the abyss, at least you have the comfort of knowing that there's surely a layer that is even worse.
Correct. Because each layer down, the lower you go, the higher the number of the layer, the worse it is.
The bigger bads you will find, the deeper you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that retrospect, do we want to have our abyss have the layer system as well? But instead of having it as like, a top-down, dig-down layer, we could have it in, again, with your Dyson sphere concept, where you have your outer sphere, and then it just compacts in. The closer into the middle you go, the greater the power that is within the abyss itself. So in order to thrive, survive, and exist here, the greater your strength and corruption and demonic ability would have to be.
And I'm not against essentially making this more ring-like. I definitely do like that idea. Right now in my head, though, I'm picturing the old pictures of Atlantis, where it's the different concentric circles.
Yeah. Okay. So almost like the rings of Saturn, except they slowly get smaller as you go in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which even the rings of Saturn technically do. The closer you get to the planet, the smaller the ring.
Take your easy, Shades. Thank you for joining us.
Any type of concentric circle. And yes, thank you so much for joining, Shades. We appreciate you every friggin' time. But yeah, I do like that because then that gives a path to adventuring through there. Because that's one thing we try to make sure we have integrated in each of our plane or each of our sections of plane or whatever we're doing, is that there is something that a GM can use to trigger an adventure or to...
Yeah, there has to be something in order to cause a catalyst for a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely agree that having the ring layers, I like the idea of that, like the abyss ring layers. I think that would work quite well. And even for having it be capable of being an infinite amount of layers, all you'd have to do is that if there is a deeper or a more confined ring that gets created or crafted or molded, it would just push all the rings farther out. So the farthest ring will just grow larger if a new ring gets formed, giving more space for the outer rings to grow.
Every time a new demon lord takes power, a new ring is formed.
Yeah, depending on the severity or the
I'm thinking every time you wanted it just to have a little more chaos. So
yeah.
every time a new demon lord takes power, they create a new a new layer on but it's on 3-dimensional concept. So it essentially is a Dyson sphere, but it's so irregularly shaped that it's basically a dugout dwarven mountain, right? Like some layers are flat, some layers are cockeyed, but it all does like this number.
So let's have a little bit more fun with it. Have you ever, like you've probably seen them. You've got kids and you're a mindy type of guy. There's those spheres that you can, that Dyson banana. There's those spheres that you can get from like Mind Games or FG Bradley's or any other kind of like board game shop and stuff like that. It's essentially, it's a maze within a ball. And you have a little metal ball that you have to roll around within the maze in order to get it to the end location. Use that idea so that every single sphere it's not a circle. It's literally wiggly lines, and they all interconnect with each other. And every time a new one gets built, it's a new tunnel within the sphere. That just causes more chaos, more breakage within the actual creation of the abyss. So the abyss itself is a Dyson sphere, and on the inside of it is just tunnels and caverns that each demon lord possesses in their hosting, and they can build upon their domain however they want. In order to branch out, they would have to make more tunnels. So it would essentially be the Underdark from Forgotten Realms, but on a more grander scale, literally with just demons.
Which means this, oh Jesus. At the center is the gate.
Yeah, the very center of it would... It is College Storms, but College Storms with... No, you're right, it's College Storms. Essentially, yeah. And you could even take this style of the Abyss, and instead of having it in a serious level, if you want to have a fun campaign, you could reconfigure this style of the Abyss as a glorified like college with, like you said, glorified RAs, and the RAs are essentially the overlords, the demon lords.
I can already see it now. Someone pulling the Strixhaven book off of their shelf and saying, "We're gonna run this in the Abyss."
That'd be amazing. Now the fun part is gonna be trying to map it all out. Try mapping all this fucking shit out. Good luck.
And Demogorgon is your fucking dean.
Yeah, he's your big honcho. So
Jesus Christ.
3 nights in a row, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna map out the Abyss.
God fucking damn it. No, we're not. No, we're not.
No?
I'm just gonna say no.
We'll do it behind the scenes.
Maybe.
Maybe,
We
probably
don't have
not.
time for that shit.
No. If you really want to, and you make it so that you don't map it out, the best way that you can do it is you could essentially say that the tunnels, the caverns of the Abyss, act in the same way that the staircases in Hogwarts do. They're ever shifting, ever moving, ever evolving, changing, so that there's no way to map them out. You can't, because they are consistently moving at all times. I mean, if I died and I went to the Abyss, I would 900% be getting high at 3 a.m. and throttling speed metal as I got tortured. Like, that would be the best way of being tortured. Definitely a little bit of like Necrogoblicon. I'm good to go.
The other part of that is it's entirely unmappable, but eventually there's a straight line from the outer ring, from the outside straight to the gate.
So you think like once every so many years, there would just be a direct path that lines up.
Correct.
So almost like
it's
a
like
Rubik's
a 1 in a
Cube.
million chance, right? Like
You know what? I wouldn't even go as a 1 in a million chance. I would say that this would happen the same time that the lunar cycle lines up with the moons out in Unity. Because we said that the Shadow Plane and the Fae, when they have the proper lunar lineup, would either gain or lose magical capabilities. Nothing saying that the same thing can't happen with the Abyss as well. You can't tell us we're wrong. We're the GMs here.
No, you're okay. Well, if you think we're wrong, give us a better idea. Oh, right when the adventurers show up. I mean, yes, that
would be the goal.
That's narratively correct.
Well,
that is absolutely
now,
narratively correct.
Who shows up at the right times, the magic or the adventurers?
Both. The DMs say both.
The DMs say both. I think that's.
But we're talking right now. We're planning in the grander scheme.
We don't have adventurers yet. The world is still
correct.
Unpopulated.
But so in the notes, all I'm putting in there is a straight through to the a straight line through to the outside every so often based on lunar alignment.
Yeah.
Because it could be whatever the lunar alignment the DM wants it to be.
Yeah.
And that's the case. It could be a straight line. It could be an L shape for losers go to the abyss. It could be an A shape.
Because, okay, so here's a question for you. Do we want to have it so that the main access line, the passageway, is based off of the lunar alignment? So if the lunar alignment is six moons.
Yeah, all 6 moons have
All
to
six.
be in the right shape.
Precisely. And depending on where the moons are, will actually be a pinnacle point on where these main access hallways or tunnels would be on a not lined up basis. So if the moons are kind of scattered around Unity, then the tunnels itself in the abyss will be scattered the same way. And then once the moons line up is when your main cavern would be lining up in the abyss. Exactly Tomb Raider logic. We're kind of we're making the abyss sound a little bit like the Illuminati.
Also, it also draws parallels straight into we mentioned Hercules earlier. Yeah. This pulls right. We mentioned it was going to be aligned with Hercules. We didn't know how, but
here we are.
Here we are. This lined up with Hercules. Hades is waiting for the right lunar alignment in order to invade
the Unity plane.
The plane of Unity.
Yeah.
Which is always a possibility for demons to invade Unity because there's a gate on the moon. Yeah,
but who's to say the gate's active?
Correct. It may not be active at all the time.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we already determined gates are only active when they're passing through the magic disc.
Correct.
So
this will just be just one of those moons that it's just off in the fucking distance that people ignore because it's too far out.
Mm-hmm. It's the farthest moon. It's the darkest moon. It's the smallest of the moons.
It's the A moon.
But we are sitting here at 9:23, or
we are
23 after the hour.
So that means that.
Oh yeah. So there is a magic disc. It's so magic comes from the sun, extending out in an accretion disk along the planet's orbit.
Yep.
Out as far as the planet goes. So the 1 AU marker, if we want to go astronomically speaking.
And that's being caused by the solar dragon, which is the sun, and the astral dragon. The astral dragon.
Oh yeah.
Which are
the astral dragon getting it on.
banging in the middle of the sun, making moon babies.
All the moon babies.
All the moon babies.
That's why we have 6 that we know of.
That we know of. There could be more in the future. Who knows?
Or in the past.
Or in the past. But I think that's where we're going to close it off for world building tonight. Do you have any tips and tricks that you would like to?
So my biggest one is going to be, no matter what the lore tells you,
break it.
As a DM, GM, or even a player, it is almost your obligation to break it in some way.
Yeah, it is.
So don't
really
be afraid to break a little bit of continuity. If you're a player, check with your GM first.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to bend or break continuity and throw those curveballs.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
True.
Because that's one of the biggest things as well, is if you have a question or if you have something that you want to try to do, but you're not sure if it works with the lore of the story that your GM's trying to play, ask a question, or again, it goes back to asking a question. Ask your GM if, based on your character and the way that your character's backstory is, or the way that you built it with your GM, if this is something that you could do. 9 times out of 10, they won't say no, because most GMs, and we're all taught this by online sources and other GMs, we don't say no, we say yes, but.
Sometimes it's a no but.
Yeah, well, there's always a but. There's always a but.
There's usually always a but.
If you have a good GM, there's a but.
Or an and. If they're a yes and, I like yes ands.
Yes ands. But there
I
should
love
be...
your idea. Let's break this and then go further. And remember, Maddie, do not break souls without consent. Otherwise, you'll go to soul hell.
You need consent, yes. Especially if this thing deems you not worthy of going up.
Going to heaven.
But yeah, make sure to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like I said, most GMs they want you to ask questions. They want you to build. They want you to be creative. And the only way that's going to happen is if you try.
We're all at the table together, building the world and playing the game together. Yep. Just remember that, and you're good to go.
And if your GM does just flat out say no to you, do it anyways.
I won't condone that one, but
yeah, don't just do it anyways. That's not nice.
Respect the GM's choice.
Respect the table. Talk to him about it. Respect the table.
Yeah, respect the table and the fun at the table
that
you guys agreed to at session 0.
Hopefully you had a session 0.
Yeah, that's
always have a session 0.
That's the other big fucking tip from us.
Always have a session 0.
Always have zeros. Always have a session 0.
If it ever gets to the point where you start to feel like, now, this is one thing that I will bring up, and I've seen it happen in the past, is if you're at a table and you notice that there's a player that is normally quite vocal and active and participates quite a lot, and they stop all of a sudden, they seem a little bit more quiet, they seem a little less active, reach out to them, because sometimes something has happened in a session and a player is not ready to talk to their GMs or talk to people, and they just need that little extra poke. This applies to both GMs as well. GMs, if you notice that one of your players that is normally very active stops, check in with your players. Make sure that everything's cool, especially after a very heavy episode. Player deaths, definitely check in with your players. Make sure that everybody's doing okay. This may be a game, but people do get attached.
Yes.
For some people, this is their getaway. This is their escape from whatever reality that they don't want to, be doing anymore at that time. Some people use this as their freedom. I know I do.
Yep. And Yeah, Maddie, very good point. Have session zeros you can have session zeros at any point.
Yes.
So if you want to have one before the game starts, but like was just mentioned, if you need to have one,
have it
a year in or 2 years in, have it.
Checkups essentially is
a
all
great
session
time
zero
I
was.
use is level ups.
Yeah.
I use it at level ups. A lot of my players like to have the additional, I'm not going to say support, but the additional comfort of leveling up with me for one reason or another. And it's not that they can't level up. You've got the books. Everyone's got access to Wikidot. Everyone's got access to the ways to level up. There's a myriad of them. It's the fact that they like to know that the build is going to fit with the story, and that I know the build as much as they do for the story purposes to carry them forward.
Yeah.
So
helps.
It's a lot of the back and forth and all of that. But it is 9:30. I know you are getting tired and gotta get to bed soon. We will be back next Monday at 8 Eastern.
Yeah.
And beyond that,
we're gonna finish the Abyss.
This is the Abyss. Maddie and anyone watching,
thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Absolutely. Real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Discord in here real quick.
Yep, go for it.
Copy.
But yeah, so thank you everybody for joining us in the chats today. We greatly appreciate all of you coming in and chatting with us and giving us your opinions, living up our show. You guys are the best. We look forward to seeing you guys next Monday, where we will continue the shenanigan building that is the World Forge. My name is Chris. I am the host and game master of the KS10 podcast.
And I'm Eric, the host, showrunner, and man of many hats over at the Hebridean Tales. The Discord link I gave out was for the Hebridean Tales, and it is going to get you into here so you can ask us questions for the
stream.
For the stream. Unfortunately, we are not raiding anywhere. As we grow, we will get there, but right now, no, we are not. We don't typically do raids at the moment.
Nope. We simple.
Yeah, we're a little simple. We do a pretty short show.
We're babies.
I'm looking into seeing who we can raid and when they run and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, you guys have a great evening, and until next time, guys, have a good night.
Take care, everybody.